All right, now we can start. All right, then, y'all. What's good? It's your boy, rather grown ass man, Ralph Anthony Garcia, also known as R4. The legal, the loyal, the regal, the royal, Ronin Ralph, your master of ceremonies. And here is when I finally finish this masterpiece by Sister Souljah. Midnight 3, a moment of silence. I promised y'all that I'll come back right next week, and here I am about to knock this baby out. But before I do so, you know what I gotta do, yo. You see here, let's look for the members of the channel. Yes, this is the channel, the United Ronin Networks. And may I be so bold to ask you folks to go check out my peoples in them over at Super Trife Low Life and check out my debut over there. Yeah, I did my thing, you know what I mean? I like to think I did my thing. What's crazy about it though is you know, I, I I'm I think my Spanish is just trash. And admittedly, the last time I really been speaking Spanish is when my mom was alive. So, and much as I wanted to speak it, it's like, So now I'm going to practice a little more because I got to represent ULL over in Mexico. My guys in Mexico, salute to you guys. Salute to Big Boo and Chip Low holding down the Super Trife channel. Salute to the Low Lives, 2 L's. Now then, let me find out where the members are. Let's see him. Okay. Let's see here. Where are you guys? Here we are. Okay. As I read off the names, let's hope yours is there. L Dog Cabal. Salute. Cameron Dukes. Salute to you. I've been a healer. Great name, by the way. Power 3000. Salute to you. Nathan N. Salute. The Messiah's daughter. Hello. Packmaster. Train. Salute to you, Packmaster. Monster. Salute. Alasia Ross, I'm sorry. Alasia Ross, welcome. Edward Simmons, salute to you. JJ's, anything goes. Hello. Damian Irving, salute to you, my friend. BLE 007, greetings. Just Being Kiki, hello there, my dear. Sherelle 5150, hello. Bella Easler, hi Dutchie. Anthony Leash, salute. Calm, hello brethren. Serenity's Touch, hello. Renard Thomas, welcome. Scooby, what up, my guy? Nana James, hello. Danielle Cunningham, let's hope up in your ear tonight. This way you can get some proper rest. Lisa Ward, hello, darling. Hello, way over there, across the pond over there. Marcus Valentine, salute to you, sir. Tama, salute. Slim DeVille, what up, though? Mr. Fulltime, peace. Desjuan Manuel, salute to you. Souljah, hello. Beverly Jones, hello to you too, darling. Brian Latham, peace. Mr. T, what up, Kevin Terry? And last but not least, of course, my peoples over at the Ranters Union, Geologic and Friends. And that is the monarchy. Without further ado, let us begin. Because I want to knock this out. No, a little more ado. Just a little more ado. I need y'all to check out my man Jaja's Rising Death. That's the next book I'm going to be reading here on the channel, and I hope y'all tune in for that. Now, let's get this mic working. Boom, 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 bum, bum, bum. Hello, hello. I like that. Okay, then. So, let's do this. Okay, this is the final chapter. And this is the finale. Let's begin. Hello? No sooner than I open my mouth, the train gotta come out. Damn it, man. I'm so sick of the train. Now let's do this, man. Hello, and welcome to Ralph Reads, brought to you by TURN, the United Ronin Networks. My name is Ralph Anthony Garcia, also known as R4, the legal, the loyal, the regal, the royal, Ronin Ralph, your master of ceremonies. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Join the channel. Join the channel, starting at 99 cents per month. Tell a friend to tune in to TURN, the United Ronin Networks. We are Ronin. On this edition of Ralph Reads, it's the finale of this beloved Sister Souljah's midnight, a moment of silence. As I flip to the final page, how well will it age? Just as good as any good story, I guess. Let the reading commence. Chapter 32. Seated at the table, arranged as a feast in an Alaskan steak and seafood house, I hear another train. See, now y'all see why I always do it past 2 o'clock. That's crazy. pass. Seated at the table, arranged as a feast in an Alaskan in an Alas in an Alaskan steak and seafood house, I am well rested and my mind is clear and sharp. This scene, however, reminded me of the time when I was seated in the back room of an Italian restaurant in Brooklyn with with the quote unquote good detective, a deceitful and filthy man who was up to no good and who wanted to enslave me to his agenda. Just like back then on that night, I am starved and concealing a ferocious hunger with a straight face. Unlike that night, unlike that night, I am not affected. I am not arrested, cuffed, and beaten or bruised. However, I am surrounded by suited strangers with the exception of one man. He is much wiser and slicker, more powerful and deadly than the good detective. He has a greater stature and stronger stance and stamina, and he is 1,000 times more passionate about his cause for deeper blood related reasons. Most importantly, he is fully capable of carrying out and following up on his threats. He has the full authority of the United States military and sees no reason to limit his actions when he is going after what he wants. He is my second wife's father. It is January 1st, 1988. However, I could not pinpoint the exact time. After a mysterious, uncomfortable, and dangerous trip from Rikers Island that ended in a cliffhanger on a mountain in upstate Buffalo, New York, as well as a cold copter ride and a trek through the high snow, ice, and Arctic cold. I had finally fallen asleep. One second. Jesus Christ, Lord. I woke up once to the sound of my own voice calling the azan, and in a sleepy haze, I fell asleep. Through the attic window, I could see that it was still dark outside, and I figured I was dreaming or bogging because of exhaustion. Because of exhaustion. I slept for what felt like several more hours and finally awoke. It was still dark, so I imagined that I had not actually slept for long. It was only much later that I found out that the darkness was due to a storm that made it seem that the sun would not rise at all. So I had actually slept very well through my normal routine times and prayer times and eat and prayer times and eating times. It ended up being about 10 hours of rest. I had fallen asleep with a growling belly while reading the first chapter of Chiesa's manuscript. Her words ripped off the armor I had layered my mind, body, and with soul with for nearly 2 years. Her words demolished the freeze in my bones, and they heated my cold, hardened heart. Her words had ignited my desires, the same deep desires that I had controlled, conquered, and canceled during my caging. Her words forced me into a deep sleep and a neurotic dream. I woke up bricker than brick, my joints so solid and swollen it wouldn't lay down for an extended amount of time. It would not settle for anything less than her touch, the pushing and plunging and pleasure of her pussy. A, a tight but warm and moist space where we expressed our mutual love. I was fucked up. I knew I needed to recover my discipline, restraint, and alertness. I needed to collect my composure and restore my warrior stance for the possible approaching threats and realities. After all, I was in an unknown space riddled with unanswered questions. The most severe ones were regarding my legal status. Am I a prisoner or am I a fugitive? Is there a warrant for my arrest? Is there a manhunt? Is there a manhunt underway for my capture? As I had laid on my back on a mattress on the floor, dressed with sheets that carried her scent, in a room in the house made of stones, surrounded by nothing but snow and ice and the wilderness, I wondered, was I rescued? Am I free? Could a daughter's subtle demand to the father who adored her actually cause a powerful man to deploy his tricks, to deploy his trucks, helicopter, arsenal, and assassins? And if she was the trigger, what would happen next? How far would her father go? And how far had he gone so far beyond what I could possibly see or know or imagine? Before I could decode the past 24 hours, I heard the rumblings of a Hummer. I leapt up, then watched through the window. As soon as I confirmed that it was her father, the general, arriving alone in the vehicle, I dropped down from the secluded space where she had her clothes, blanket, and books, her bed, desk, and dresser, and her writings, and hardly anything else. I securely closed the lid that sealed it and removed the ladder, pushing it into a side room. I did not know if her father normally came here or or if he was aware of her manuscript. Or if he was aware of her manuscript. He was a man who their family was normally very discreet about, never mentioning his name or his title and ranking, or even taking or hanging his photographs. But in the side room, I saw Spurt Low. I see you, my guy. Welcome aboard, all the way from Australia. Love it. Salute to all my folks, my low-life people in the Australian chapter. It is that real. Let me see. Hello, says my guy from Australia, Spurt Low. Hello, 2 L's. Let me see, where was I? But in the side room, I saw men's clothing. Was it his? I didn't have time to check. I was in the washroom, washing my face and hands and rinsing my mouth. I saw a razor for shaving. My jaw and my chest got tight. I slipped out the blade and cleaned it off. Instinctively, I'd carry it on. I'd carry it on me. Then he knocked on the door, with the heavy hand of the police or the military during a raid. Grabbing the snorkel, which had my gloves and wool hat tucked in each coat pocket, I put it on over the black jumper that I had fallen asleep in. I stepped into my boots and headed outside. He had gotten back in the Hummer and was seated behind the wheel. He lowered his window when he saw me approaching. "We have an appointment. Let's go, son," was all he said, casually, as though he had just chilled with me the day before. But in reality, he had last seen me 2 years ago. I climbed in. "Jump in the back and get dressed." I did, surprised to see the dress clothes hanging in the rear on the hook. I was clean shaven, head and face, but my body was not showered. His Mickey Thompson Baja Claw tires were crushing everything in their path. Only the hum of his engine could drown out the rumble of my hunger. Fully dressed, I decided to remain seated in the back. Through the rearview mirror, he locked eyes with me and said, "You are not naive, son, are you? You know the rules of war." I stayed still and silent, thinking, "Happy New Year." Wait. Hold on a second. I stayed still. I stayed still and silent, thinking. Happy New Year was all I Happy New Year was all I said to him. I knew better than to utter one word that could be used as a one-word agreement to any of his ideas, plans, or schemes, then, now, or later on. "So, you are the general's son. Pleased to meet you," a well-suited European woman in her 30s, introduced as Ursula, said as she sipped from her water glass. "I know fathers are demanding and rarely compliment their sons. So I'll have to say that your performance on the SATs was outstanding, almost perfect. They were above the scores of our average students, which is quite high, and equivalent to the scores of our top 3 students in a class of 120. Indeed, a dark blue suited white man who had been introduced as Roy said, "We are excited to have recruited you and are fully prepared for you to enter our academy next week after the holiday break. Next week after the holiday break. And because of the preeminence of your father, we have all assembled here on the great holiday. Fortunately for us, it's late afternoon. Otherwise, we may have had to disappoint your father after a night of cheers." They all laughed. You already look like a soldier," an older white man introduced as Tom commented. "You are already as silent as an elite global soldier must be." "So true," the dark-suited Roy said. "Normally, such silence is achieved only after our specialized training. The fact that you are already silent has me feeling a little less necessary. They each laughed. It's either that or he has some ominous secrets to hide, he added. Nonsense! Nonsense! The European woman said. Look at who his father is. He obviously has been in training for years. Then she turned towards me and said, There is no need for you to feel burdened. Only the top brass gathered around this table will know your roots, and we won't tell a soul, she promised. We don't want the other students to feel that you're getting preferential treatment. He may be He may be advanced in his training already, which is excellent, since he is entering the academy in the second semester of our school year, which is rarely ever allowed. However, he won't be spared any of the workload that he has missed. Therefore, he will have to forfeit his summer leave. He will also need to polish up on his social skills. He had to have suffered from being homeschooled and studying for his SATs all alone and earning his GED in place of attending full classes with qualified instructors. And bonds of friendship and team spirit, and of course the godforsaken high school prom. Simply trying to get a date to that goddamn thing is a social experiment, Tom said, and they laughed. No worries, Ursula said. Our school is co-ed and international, and Switzerland is quite lovely. Our our host country Our host country is famous for chocolate, and you are a very handsome young lad, if you don't mind me saying so. Back in the blacked out black Hummer, plowing through the storm dark roads, he had his huge hand gripping the shift stick tightly. Pause. What I really wanted to ask him was the whereabouts of my wife. I knew that he knew that she is my great love and deep desire, also his only daughter, his ace card, and the only reason me and him were together, and that I was riding shotgun with a military man. I knew he would attempt to convert my love and my desire for his daughter into my weakness. So I didn't mention her. I only asked, where are we headed? You'll see. We pulled up to a checkpoint, which ended up being the entrance to a military base. The signage said Fort Drum. Each soldier who encountered him saluted, shuffled, kowtowed, and all but bowed down. He was riding from building to building, getting his holiday greetings, salutes, and reports, and showing me, without words, spoken directly to me, that he was in command. I already knew that. Seeing tanks and guns and grenades and stockpiles of ammunition sealed his performance. His last stop on his power tour was a dormitory building on the base. He ordered a soldier on post outside to go in and bring out Private Crusher. Quote unquote. Let me see who's in the house. Love you too, brother. I see you, Spurt Low. Spurt Low, low life. We in the house. ULL. Doing the damn 1 and 2. You heard? Uh-huh. The big white boy soldier came running out, then straightened himself as soon as he saw the general seated in the Hummer. He saluted and then approached with permission. He leaned in. He leaned in on the driver's side and asked what he could do for the general. Take a look at this guy. You think you could take him for a few rounds? The general asked him. He glanced over at me. That's why they call me the Crusher, he said. They laughed. I didn't. Easily, I'd fight him. I'm not military trained, but these guys weren't street fighters. These guys didn't come straight out of Rikers and probably would never survive if they did. What do you say, son? The general asked me. Anytime, I said solemnly. Whoa! Let's go! Let's ring in the bloody new year, the Crusher said. Not tonight, the general intervened. He's got other things to do tonight. I just swung by so you could see your next challenge and get prepared. I'm the champ that whooped that big boy over in Little Siberia, General. I'm already prepared. This guy was excited, hyped up like he just shot up steroids. You're dismissed, Private, the general said. Crusher left in an instant. I grabbed that guy out of the jaws of Little Siberia. You know where that is? The general asked me as he did a 180 and drove off the base. Nah, I said. That's the prison where you were supposed to go to last night. Dannemora, maximum security, Clinton Correctional Facility, a place where the worst sons of bitches in the region are housed and conquered but never corrected. He was looking straight ahead. So was I. Just remember that during our negotiation, he said suddenly. Just remember that during our negotiation, he said suddenly. Negotiation, I repeated, really, to myself. The one you and I are about to have, he said. We rode in silence after those words. My mind was heavy. There were too many X factors. I needed to line up my thoughts before the negotiation. I began to do so for my own good. His daughter is my wife. I won her hand in marriage from him fair and square. He hadn't faltered on his debt to me or on his word, although I always felt his reluctance, his presence, and his attempt to continue to control her from afar. That may have been annoying, but it wasn't terrible or evil, I told myself. His daughter loves me, I know. She will follow me everywhere I go. She will follow me wherever I go and whatever choices I make. Even if she disagrees with me, she will yield and give way. Only in an instance where something conflicts with her faith will she fight and resist. I never go against her faith. Her faith is my faith. The train. 1 second. On the one hand, I have the general by the neck because I have his daughter. But why should our marriage be a problem to him? Is it only her conversion to Islam that he finds so disturbing? And now that it is clear that his daughter will be a Muslim, whether I'm dead or alive, He had to realize that he can't get her to roll back to whatever it was they used to believe in or do as a way of life. What does he want from his daughter? What does he want from me? Come on, God damn it. Always some asshole riding some loud ass motorcycle, dirt bike, scooter, whatever the hell. Bums of anarchy. Like, why? God, that's loud. In a chess game, both opponents have the comfort of knowing how each piece can and can't move. Both the black knight and the white knight are limited to the same options. And that goes for the king, queen, rooks, and bishops also. Life, however, isn't like that. It's random, hostile, and impulsive. You can't sleep on any man because that train will come and run you over. You can't sleep on any man because no man is a game piece. The weakest and most frightened man might do the most unexpected, deadliest, and horrific thing. He obviously wants me to attend some academy in Switzerland, I thought further. That's what I had gathered as I sat in my complete silence at the dinner table. My objective was only to listen and consume an expensive meal in an expensive restaurant where the prices were not printed on the menu. Was that his method of separating his daughter and me by, by distance? Or did he and his sister Aunt Tasha and their whole family believe that if I didn't start racking up the degrees the way they had, that I needed to be cut out from Chiesa and their family like a cancer? Or was it worse? Is my Islamic lifestyle so unacceptable to them that they needed to see me humiliated and that they needed to see me humiliated in order to feel comfortable around me and comfortable around Chiesa? Is this some deep-seated jealousy? True. I had knocked a, I had knocked out a guy at their family barbecue in the vine. True. I had knocked out a guy at their family barbecue in the vineyard, but he deserved it. A friend of Xavier, he had tried to kick it to my first wife, asking her to dance, and touching her hand after she said no, to coax her to accept his offer. Wait. Asking her to dance and touching her hand. Another train. Good goddamn it. This is why I do it after 2:30. It's 2 o'clock now and the trains are still running, if you can believe that. Damn it. A friend to Xavier, he had tried to kick it to my first wife, asking her to dance and touching her hand after she said no, to coax her to accept his offer. I dropped him. Had to let them all know that both women belong to me by marriage and choice, theirs and mine. I love Chiesa, true. She is your relative, true. But still, don't buck with my first wife because I love her too, true. They thought that I was cocky, even though I had cooperated and showed up to Clementine Moody's all to Clementine Moody's all-male family breakfast very early that same morning to squash the beef between Marcus and me. I was quiet and humble. I shook hands with Marcus even though he had tried to stab me in the back before, even though he had tried me to even though he had tried to stab me in the back before and had actually stabbed me in my chest, inches above my heart. But at the late afternoon, big blowout barbecue, male and female, family and friends and vineyard neighbors gathered. Soon as I arrived with my beautiful Uma covered in her summer light sparkling fabrics and my two beautifully modest wives and little sister, I felt all eyes on me. The men watched me, thinking I was too brazen. I felt like my everyday lifestyle and my wives were getting them green with envy and red with fury while they fronted it off, glancing and gossiping while flashing fake smiles. I remember Marcus and Chiesa had captivated by Marcus had Chiesa captivated by his fireworks, a suitcase filled with stink bombs, firecrackers, nigger chasers, sparklers, M80s, and other holiday explosives. I was chilling in the shade, sipping a lemonade when I saw the dude looking, then approaching Akemi as she stood watching the dance steps intently and admiring the art of the gathering. They think I'm violent. I think they're uncivilized. And I think these trains need to stop. It's ridiculous already. Good God. They think I'm violent. I think they're uncivilized. They think they are higher ups. I think they are spiritual lows. If they could separate me from my women and infiltrate their minds, they would. But because my women are loyal, there was absolutely nothing they could do to break it. It was sad and funny to me. Their women of all ages, from very young to senior elders, were at that big barbecue event, most uncovered and nearly naked. Why focus on my wives, covered and true? So my standing with my second wife's family before my lockup was left on shaky grounds. But now I was faced with a larger with a larger dilemma. With a larger dilemma. The general might have gotten me freed at his daughter's demand, but if he got me out and off without me becoming a fugitive on the run or the quote unquote most wanted, I understood that I owed him something, even though I did not ask him to do it. Could have served out my time and come home in a year and a half. At the same time, if I am free now without doing the rest of my time, of course I got to be grateful. My praise goes to Allah, of course, but in the physical world, I paid my debts fair and square as well. What about all the men I left behind at Rikers? What about the ones who were waiting for me to drop a line and let them know my whereabouts? What about those trains finally stopping? It's ridiculous already. This depresses me, y'all. I swear to God. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. I promise you it's a lot. What about the handful of people who will be following up to check on me, like my lawyer and Santiago, who will wait for news of my release, and Ditch, who was also sent to Little Siberia. Little Siberia. What about Daquan at Greenhaven and his newsletter that kept all of us aware and connected, and Deshawn at Sing Sing? My second wife had been asked 3 questions by her father. According to her manuscript, he had asked her, "Do you understand that he murdered a man and how serious a crime that is?" And he asked her, "Why should I go out of my way to bring him home before he serves his time with the other convicted murderers and criminals?" Chiesa, clever and swift, had replied softly, "And how many men have you killed, Daddy? Shall we count them? Or are there too many to count? And doesn't it matter that he was defending his sister? Or would it have been better if he was killing for pay? Just obeying orders because it was his occupation and without any other real consideration or right reason? Daddy, I'll bet there are bodies buried beneath every medal on your chest, aren't there? But if you were somewhere suffering like I feel my husband is suffering, it will be unbearable. It will be unbearable to me. Same as I have waited for you my whole life. I can wait for my husband, but the thought of the element that he is in and the conditions that he's enduring is unbearable for me. And of course he is different than almost all of the men he might be locked up with. He is my husband. When I met him, he had already made 20,000 more prayers than me. Before I met him, I had never even made one. He had already fasted for 9 Ramadans. Now he has fasted for 11. He is so good and so beautiful. He is better than me. He loves and lives for his family, and he loves me a whole heap. Maybe more than you do. He will do anything for me, even give up his life. Won't you do what I ask of you?" "He has another wife," the general had reminded her. As I read, it felt like it was his last desperate attempt to alter her allegiance to me. "Yes, she is his wife, and she is my wife too." I doubted that the general had read her manuscript. Now that I think about it, though, perhaps he was aware of its existence. Perhaps she had used it with the accuracy and precision of her knives and hit the bull right in his eye, so to speak. Perhaps she had threatened him with it. After a lifetime of not being photographed and under the protection of his family to keep everything concerning him private, he must have wanted to stop the autobiography of the general's young daughter from being published. Maybe it pushed him to the point that at the threat of losing his daughter's loyalty, maybe it pushed him to the point that at the threat of losing his daughter's loyalty, he felt the shame of abandoning Marcus, his son. Maybe I was somehow ruining his quote-unquote do-over. The off-road vehicle rode rugged off-road. We maneuvered over ice and rocks and sticks and even veered around a massive elk. After a bit of a journey, we arrived at a miniature oddly shaped log cabin in the wilderness. There was a Jeep already parked there below the towering trees. Again, I had no idea what the fuck was going on. Damn silence. Again, I had no idea what was going on. He climbed out the Hummer. I followed. I observed that the tiny place had a weird chimney. It was just a pipe popping out through its roof. It was just a pipe popping out through its roof. The smoke was pouring upwards and then dispersed by the intensity of the cold air. A woman, maybe about 22 years young, opened the door and stood in the doorway. She was a she wore a colorful kimono with no socks or stockings or anything to shield her from the cold. As we entered, I realized that she was wet but seemed unfazed by the intermingling of two extremely different temperatures. She rushed us into the warmth. Happy New Year, she said enthusiastically, and in a manner and a tone that led me to believe this was not her first meeting with the general. The cabin ceiling was so low, the general, who stood 6'8", had only 2 inches remaining above his head. I also was strangely close to the ceiling. She was not. I'll take your coats. You may hang your clothes right there. She pointed out a row of metal hooks lodged in the wall. We both removed our coats and suit jackets. I was following his lead. He began unbuttoning his dress shirt and removing it as well. I paused. Come on, son. When in Rome, do as the Romans. When in Alaska, do as the Eskimos. When in Buffalo, do as the Buffaloes. He chuckled. He chuckled. He chuckled. He chuckled. This place is a mookie, an Alaskan-style steam bath. You've had a hard run for a long time. You'll need this to extract all that filth from your skin. Even though we were not in Alaska, the general seemed to like Alaskan things. I noted that fact and the possibility that he is either currently stationed there or have been stationed there for some extended period of time. Maybe that's why he was at ease in the Buffalo freeze. He was down to only his boxers and about to come out of those. I adjusted my mind. I moved it right past my recent past and beyond the jail and perversities that I never knew or considered existed before going to jail and observing. I settled my mind way back in the Sudan in the memory of my southern Sudanese grandfather. He was a huge black-skinned man, same as the general. General. Grandfather was blacker than black and shaded even deeper than the general, who was surely black too. In the Sudan, men washed side by side at times in the flesh. It was natural and clean. There with no suspicions or threats or even a remote thought of anything else. Fully naked now, both of us men, the general and me, duck walked to pass through the door that led to the next room, which was only 5 feet in height. The floor and the ceiling and the walls were all made of wood. We eased out of our duck squat and sat on a long wooden bench facing the wooden stove that was percolating. The metal pipe that sat in the middle of it ran all the way out through an opening in the roof and was so hot it was turning red. In this room, both of our heads were touching the ceiling. Is it too hot for you, son? He asked me. I didn't say anything. I was adjusting, breathing in the moist heat. I felt this swirling in my lungs and was breathing it back out as all of my pores were opening. I knew he was using that statement to have a double or triple meaning. I knew he was trying to break me, get me under his wing and control, not kill me. But I'm far, but I'm from the desert. I'm from the Sudan, the land of the blacks, home of the original pyramids, even before Egypt, which was previously known as Kemet, the land of the black-skinned pharaohs, and the region of the prophets Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, peace be upon them, for those who don't truly know. When it gets too hot for you, lie down, he said. I got this place reserved for 2 hours. You should be good, clean, smoked, and steamed by then. He laughed, and the deepness of his voice echoed. Crouched there on the bench, sweat pushing out of our pores and glazing our faces and bodies and even soaking our toes, he said, Let's begin our negotiation. Let's do that, I responded. Even I was eager. I wanted the information, the verdict, and the conclusion. I'd rather be beside his daughter, nude and moist and wet. You realize that you are not in the same position as you were before when you won and I allowed you to leave Asia with my 16-year-old daughter, he said. Right, I agreed, purposely brief. You realize that you committed a serious crime, murder, and you are a convict. I was in the middle of serving my time for that conviction when your people came, locked and loaded and interrupted. He turned and looked at me hard and grimaced. Ungrateful. You should be glad my people came and interrupted you. Or did you grow accustomed to living like a beast? I'm not confirmed that you have rescued me. You may have sunk me into a deeper legal problem. Convince me. While you're at it, please tell me exactly what you want. He was quiet. As the steam rose, shrouding his face, he looked like a gorilla in the mist. At the same time, he resembled my father. His looks, not his content or his style. Son, call it whatever you like. But it is what it is. Since you have no negotiation etiquette, I'll give you the harsh bottom line. You are a prisoner of war. Do you know what that means? In this war between you and me, you've lost this battle. You know the rules of war, son. You know the rules of war, son? When you lose something of great value, something precious to you. The best outcome for a loser is that he becomes a hostage, a servant, a slave, or a dead man. He pulled a thick string that caused a bell to ring, then moved off the bench and lay out flat on the floor. The swinging door that separated the steam room from the dressing room pushed open. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed young white woman walked in, completely nude and carrying a bucket filled with some fluid. She used a wooden bowl to scoop the liquid and began pouring it all over the general's body from head to toe. It was water. From his grunting out his relief and pleasure, I knew it was cool to cold water to lessen the intensity of the steam heat. Lay down, son. You gotta learn when to lay down, he said. The wrong timing or the wrong decision could leave you out of your breath, could leave you out of breath. As she poured water on him, her eyes were trained on me. I turned from her gaze. I had already seen it all vividly. Her plump titties and poked out nipples. Her bald pussy lips and thighs and feet. She's a trick, I said to myself. His spoonful of sugar to force down the bad tasting medicine he was trying to feed me. She laughed. You were purchased, son. A private corporation purchased your sentence and your servitude. Now they own you. The door swung back open. The woman re-entered the room with two large paper cups filled with water. She handed one to me and placed the other beside him. If you lie down, I'll gladly soak you in some cool water. If you lie down, I'd gladly soak you in some cool water, she said to me with her eyes and lips. That's enough, the general said to her. She turned and left in an instant, leaving the door in the open position, causing cool air to rush in and lessen the heat. I drank the water. Then my mind was ready. I agree. When a man loses a war, he becomes a prisoner or a slave. I wasn't at war with you, though. We both have someone precious in common. The war I was in, I won, in a sense, because I did what had to be done. I lost, in a sense, because I got locked up, but I looked at it as me paying the blood price for my actions. My debt to the prison system was 3 years. That's in writing. I did 17 months. I have 19 months, roughly a year and a half, remaining on my debt to the prison system. If a company purchased that debt, which is something I never heard of, I would owe that company 1 year and 9 months of my time, I said. Excuse me. I said. Then I rang the bell and lay down. Good. Now you're negotiating, he said. The naked girl reappeared and began pouring the cool water over me from head to toe. It was a relaxing feeling in a tense time. She left. Your debt was 1 year and 9 months without incident, he said. Incident? I repeated. When your sponsors who purchased you went to pick you up, I'm told they encountered an accident. I'm not accusing you of causing the accident. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. But whatever the case, the Department of Corrections lost 2 men and a truck. That's a little messy. Your sponsor's team contacted me. Your sponsor's team contacted me, not the local police or prison authorities. In less than 30 minutes, I deployed my team to clean up the scene. That increased your debt, he said, calm and sly. I'm a businessman, I said. I have capital. Talk to me. How much did it cost you, sir, the helicopter ride? We both sat up. He looked like he wanted to knock my fucking head off. The woman came back to refill the drinking water. I was already tired of her. It's a holiday, son. Our accountant is adding it up, he said, pleased with himself. The woman got on her knees and began dipping her sponge in the cold water bowl and wiping and patting the general down. When she was done, she left. That wasn't the only mess I had to clean up. There was the matter of cleaning up your identity, separating you from Jordan Man. Separating you from Jordan Man. Making sure he's the convict and you're not. That took time. Burning up some of my connections caused me to use up some favors that were owed to me, and I had to do some favors that I never intended to do as well. Are you saying what legally? Are you saying that legally I'm free, not a fugitive, or even a convict? I see you look skeptical, he chuckled. Right now, there's a Jordan Man serving your sentence. He arrived at Clinton last night, same time you were scheduled to arrive, wearing your clothes, doing your time in your place. My mind raced, although the heat and moisture in the air did slow my thoughts some. Was the prisoner walking downhill, escorted by the guard, the one who was doing time in my place? What about the fact that they already had my blood and urine and fingerprints? I asked swiftly. His profile won't match up with mine, I added. That's the expensive cleanup job that I've been alluding to. That increased my special services and your debt. But those services I already made happen. Although it is not a simple matter to delete one man's records and data and alter another man's records and data, my efforts were a success. It turns out that you are going to live well. It turns out that you're going to live well as long as you follow the general's orders and pay the general what you owe him. How much is that? How much is that? I asked. Tell it to me straight. 5 painless years. You go to the school in Switzerland for 1.5 years full time. In fact, overtime, including summers. Graduate, and then you serve the remaining 3.5 years under contract, he said, scheming. Under contract as what? A member of a secret mercenary army, the elite global organization of soldiers. You don't have to wear the uniform you hate so much. It's a private company. I own it. You will not be a part of the United States military. You will not be a part of the United States military, but you will be under my management and command. I'll contract you out to elite customers and move you to countries all around the world. You'll be highly paid, and when your time is up, you walk away, he said, clapping his hands once and splattering the water in his palms. I'd rather, I began saying, and he interrupted. Now I saw and understood the reason why him and me were naked in a strange steam bath. He needed to have this unexpected, strange, and classified conversation in a place where it couldn't be overheard, recorded, filmed, or reported on. Not only because of me and the murder I had committed and been convicted of, but because of the moves he had already taken that I never requested and that he was now responsible for. Teacher Karim Ali had given us a clear definition of the word criminal. He said a criminal is a person, network, or institution, business, or system that violates and operates and participates in activities outside of the established laws of the legitimate government or recognized governing body of a city, state, country, or territory. According to Teacher Karim's definition, me taking the murder of Lance Polite into my own hands was criminal. At the same time, that definition meant That definition meant that the general is a criminal, and the U.S. military is criminal too. Perhaps that was the reason Perhaps that was the reason Ricky Santiago said, "There is no such thing as a bad man." Because of the system we live in, we all fit the criminal definition. We all fit the criminal definition perfectly. The only way out of that truth, it seemed, was to change the system completely. But I am a Muslim man. I believe there are good and bad men no matter what the situation. Islam is my belief and my way. I thought all these men, including myself, would be better, live better, and do better if Islam were the rules of law. It's a faith, and the guidelines are clear. And men can work and earn, live and love. And men can work and earn, live and love, and protect what any right-thinking man wants to protect, his family. In order to do so, though, men will have to gain a discipline and lose something also. Men will have to sacrifice some vices and habits and occupations that do more harm than good, humble ourselves, and lose something to gain something much better and much greater. Think about it. Think about it before you speak, son. I'll give you 24 hours to make your choice. And what if I just buy back my freedom, pay you the debt back in cash or gold? And what if I just buy back my freedom, pay you the debt back in cash or gold? Pay you the debt back in cash or gold, I proposed. Not possible. In this instance, the time is worth more than any money you could put together and that I would accept. So are you saying that I don't have the option to serve out my sentence and be done with this? I asked, just to be clear. I told you. You are already serving your sentence and then some. And then some, I repeated. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Right about now, Joy Man is seated in the hole and under close scrutiny and investigation. What else could he be? There are 2 corrections officers who died transporting him to prison, the general said, which translated in my ear as checkmate. The general said, which translated in my ear as checkmate. What about that man? I asked. Who? The one serving the time as joined man. Don't worry about him. He's a slave, a prisoner of war, paying down his debt, which has nothing to do with you, the general said firmly. If he wasn't paying it at Clinton, he will be paying it somewhere in another not so nice place. In the prison system, son, you are just a body, a number. You're a human. You are human waste. But he's not me, I said, really at a loss for words. If he causes any mess, he could easily be eliminated in a sudden prison fight. If he interrupts big business, that will be his fate. He is whoever I say he is. Listen, son, when I was your age, I ran into some troubles. I figured out that there were only 2 sides in this world. Simple. There's the winners and the losers. And they're both heavily armed. I figured that what makes the winners is that they have authority, a license to hold, a license to kill, and get away with it. So you decide which team you want to kill. So you decide. So you decide which team you want to be a part of. The winners or the losers. If you're stubborn or stupid, if you swim against the tide or go against the grain, you'll have no support. You'll have opened up a can of snakes, and at least one of them will eat you. He gritted his teeth. Take your time. Take your time. You have 24 hours, he threatened politely. I had voices streaming through my thoughts, my own voice, the voices of my father and grandfather, teacher Karim Ali's voice, Santiaga's, Daquan's, and the voice of that girl who gave that speech in jail. Seated in the back of the Hummer on impulse, I did what she recommended. Check the label, she had said. I pulled down the black jumper I wore this afternoon. I flipped the collar and checked the label. It had the letters HWM embossed on it. The snorkel had the same label and letters, as did the boots. I smiled. When I was on the yacht with Clementine Moody, he had handed me a note on a small notepad embossed with the capital letters HWM. Long before my wife had told me that no one knew what her uncle actually did for a living. They only knew what he had done in the past. Knitting the facts together, the tiniest sloppy mistakes that paid and powerful men are bound to make because no man is perfect, I got it. Clementine Moody was either the owner of HWM or their highly placed and paid consultant. What does HWM stand for? I asked, suddenly breaking the silence of the ride to wherever was the general's next. I asked, suddenly breaking the silence of the ride to wherever was. Let me try that again. I asked, suddenly breaking the silence of the ride to wherever was the general's next destination. Human waste management. They are your sponsors. How did you know? He asked. That's classified information. Their logo is stamped on his uniform they gave me last night, and the coat and the boots, I said. They're an up-and-coming powerhouse corporation. The privatization of every service available in the world is on the horizon, including the privatization of prisons and the military, and even the privatizing of the individual. That's why I am in the lineup, son. I am going to remain working high up in the military mainstream, and meanwhile, I'm investing, building, and betting on the dark horse. Same as I figured out when I was young exactly who had the authority to hold and fire their weapons. After a long career, I realized that the endless military budget of trillions of dollars, I needed a cut of that. Not just great benefits and a paycheck. I had put in the work and the time. I had traveled the entire range of the globe, every nook and cranny. I had introduced kings and queens and corporate heads and politicians and military higher-ups and even presidents and prime ministers to each other. Though my efforts and introductions, I had created many multi-million-dollar financial business marriages. But only through owning my own company could I get the cut I deserved. I chose what I know, the military. the creation of a global private army. He watched me through the rear view to measure his impact. You know, son, the dark horse will win, he chuckled. He sounded like slaughter to me. The HWM Corps, is it owned by a black man? I asked. Yes, but he's extremely private. He uses his vice president with dexterity. He's the owner. The VP is the face. The VP is the face, quote unquote. The owner is a good guy, though. I've known him for years. Then I knew. The general and his brother-in-law had each formed their own corporations, and they were feeding one another. Moody had come from the hospital industry, while the general was from the military. The two biggest hustles in the world had joined hands secretly. So secretly that now they were buying and selling humans, their body parts in individual pieces, or their bodies in whole. The American prisons were their playgrounds that stored the inventory known as human waste. The entire globe was their marketplace. They were even buying what Allah had gifted each of us in varying degrees, our time on earth. Furthermore, he, the learned Clementine Moody had the balls to name his business Human Waste Management. I had gotten that feeling from him when I was riding on his yacht. He believed he could do more with people's lives and deaths than people could do for themselves. And he believed that people who were not pursuing Ivy League degrees and the status he achieved were actually waste, quote unquote. I'll come for your decision tomorrow at 1800 hours, the general said when he dropped me back at the lone stone house in the cold wilderness. It was almost 10 p.m. Now the lights were on in the house. I saw a man moving through the lighted curtain. This is life, I said to myself. You can't kill every immoral man, I cautioned myself. But if there's a man in there with my wife, he's a dead man. I walked around to the side of the house, sure that whoever was there heard the Hummer roll up over the ice. I heard the door open and feet crushing snow as he stepped out. I walked around front so swiftly he was startled. Before I could snap his neck, I saw his face. It was Marcus. Seated in her attic bedroom, purposely in the dark, I was behind a wooden pillar and the beams of moonlight. I waited. He told me she would soon come. I told him not to mention that I was here. I wanted to send him out and away, but I did realize that would be too cruel due to the cold, isolated location. But I did realize that would be too cruel due to the cold, isolated location. Aside from that, he seemed less crazy than before. I'm sure it was the outcome of being in the atmosphere and presence of my lovely wife, his sister, who he had missed out on when he was young. He also told me that he had been working for her, managing her New York vending business. She needed me to deal with the men, he said proudly. I smiled. Turns out he works for me. But I knew he didn't need to hear that. I let it go. I heard a I heard a vehicle roll up. I didn't look. She always saw too much. I didn't want to give myself away by appearing in the window or peering through the curtains before I could feel and see her true reaction. I smiled. She is 18 now. Had her license, was driving now. Then I heard voices, two flights down, but couldn't distinguish their words. She didn't run right up, so I guess he kept his word and didn't tell her I was here. Half an hour later, I heard her approaching slowly. It was strange because she was usually so swift. When she finally appeared, she was carrying something on her back. I stood still as a statue. She turned to pull out a dresser drawer, and I saw my baby on her back. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. My racing heart was beating now like a war drum, so loud I thought she could hear it. She placed our baby in the drawer after laying a blanket inside of it. She bent over and gently laid the drawer on the floor at the top of her cot. She began to undress. On her blouse, a pendant of gold wings glistened. On her blouse, a pendant of gold wings glistened. Badass. She had even become a pilot. Her hair was still wild beneath her hijab. She removed it. It was thick and braided into only two braids, even longer than before. Giving birth had made it grow. I had missed watching all of that happen. Her sculpted shoulders were still exquisite and her back a diamond cut. Her waist was still tiny baller. Her waist was still tiny banner. Her waist was still tiny banner. Ugh. Her waist was still tiny ballerina, and her butt African lovely. Still training, she had made that happen. She must still be shooting her bows and arrows. Her arms were lean and tight. She turned around and leaned back against her dresser. Her milk and honey breasts and hips were more beautiful than ever. Her milk and honey breasts and hips more beautiful than heaven. If you only knew, she said softly, and tears fell from her smoky gray eyes. You wouldn't tease me by staring from over there. Come over here and love me. Let me take a pause for the cause just because. Hold on. I got one more page to read, but I want to acknowledge folks coming in the set. Low Life still in the house. Got it. Low Life, Universal Low Lives. We're right here. Royal Giants in effect. Polo down. Let's go. Acknowledgements. This time around, I'd like to acknowledge the people, the book readers and book buyers. Please accept my deep appreciation to each and every one of you. Specifically, I'd like to thank every single youth and student who has taken it upon himself or herself to ask for, find, and buy my novels, even when your teachers have either refused or failed even when your teachers have either refused or failed to assign or provide them to you. Also, I'd like to thank those teachers, principals, and school districts courageous enough to order and buy my books because they are concerned about storytelling that connects to and improves the lives and realities of their student population. Deep appreciation to every librarian who has ordered enough copies of my books to serve their communities. To the financially poor girls and boys who can only afford to check my books out, To the financially poor girls and boys who can only afford to check my books out at the library, that used to be me. I'd like to send a heartfelt thank you to the prison population, those who have purchased, passed around, shared, and discussed my novel in order to create a new understanding and better lives for themselves. Last, but never the least, I'd like to thank every father and mother who have handed the midnight novels to their sons and daughters in hopes that they might make better choices and lead better lives than we ever did. Books offer knowledge that make it possible for us to break the negative cycles that we all have become too comfortable accepting. Love, Sister Souljah. That's all, and that's it. See you soon with some more Sister Souljah scripts on Ralph Reads. I would like, or rather love, to thank you, Queens and Kings, fellow royalty, for stopping by. If you would like to leave a small donation or connect with me on social media, please go to www.solo.to/RGMC 2407. Check out my IG, X, Threads, Facebook group, and YouTube channel at RGMC 2407. Please go to YouTube and also visit the United Ronin Networks. Be so kind to take a chance and listen to The Art of Bounce on its own YouTube channel, on YouTube as well as on Force Fed Digital via Apple, Amazon, and Spotify. Come back for the uncensored versions when you join TURN, the United Ronin Networks. We are Ronin. Fellow royalty, pick up a good book, read a good story, and set your good self free. I appreciate you, and I love you like cooked food. I hope to see you folks for a new miniseries right here on Ralph Reads. Thank you all for taking the time out your busy schedules. Thank you all for taking the time out your busy schedules. Thank you all for taking the time out your busy schedules. May you stay safe and God bless you. And now that book is finally done. Yeah. All right. Let me mark this up. Midnight 3. So, Midnight 3 finale. Okay. That part is done. And now let me look up my RGMC folks, the monarchy, real quick. Let me see now. Okay. 1 second. Right. Come on. A little faster now, please. Let's see. Come on. I hate when this slows down on me, man. Maybe I have to clean this out. You know what I mean? Like, I really got to clean it out. All right. All Big shout to All-Star Fania. I see you, neighbor. Big shout also to Eldor Cabal, Cameron Dukes, I've been a healer, Power 3000, Nathan N., The Messiah's Daughter, Pat Master, Monster, Alasia Ross, Edward Simmons, JJ's Anything Goes, Damian Irving, BLE 007, Just Being Kiki, Sherelle 5150, Bella Easler, Anthony Leach, Calm, Serenity's Touch, Renard Thomas, Scooby, Nana James, Danielle Cunningham, Lisa Ward, Marcus Valentine, Tama, Slim DeVille, Mr. Fulltime, Desjuan Manuel, Soulstasia, Beverly Jones, Mr. T, Brian Latham, and Geologic and Friends. Peace to the monarchy. All right then. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen. You know what I want to do? I'll tell you what I want to do. All right. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I'm going to record something, like, random, right? Like, I'm going to even write this shit freestyle, right? So, bear with me as I write a show real quick, right off the top of the head, right off the top of the head, right in front of your faces. I'm going to record an episode of The Art of Bounce right now, right now. I'm going to actually write down, hey, what should I say to say? Hey, what do y'all say? Are you having a great day? Let's hope so. We're about to tune in to The Art of Bounce. The Art of Bounce is a show that is all about the trials and tribulations of the bouncer, and also including guards of all kinds, fire guards, lifeguards, correctional guards, security guards. This is a platform where we can discuss our ideas, traumas, and other experiences. In conjunction with presenting, okay. Oh, that's bad news. you don't leave me. It's still Ralph Reed's Raw. This is Ralph Reed's Raw, y'all. This is what it's all about. You know, this is a breathtaking situation. None of the quick, super fire edits. None of that craziness, right? That's what we're doing here. We actually performing and taking a breath and, you know what I'm saying, taking it easy, doing what we do, raw. We mess up here. We trip over our words. We stutter. We do all that shit. And later on, as I edit on this bad boy right here, at the end of the day, after a week or so, I provide y'all with the nice, clean, crispy copy. Alright, suitable for all systems and all of that. You know what I mean? Ralph Reed's Raw, it's a breath of fresh air, man. If you're not in the mood for people's stylized fucking bullshit, you tune in here and you could sip a beer and you can relax, fall back, smoke a joint, be on point right here. Listen to me, PEZ. That's what he used to call me. Anyways, let me write the rest of this. All right. Now we will traverse what year was that? 2000. That was 2006. Yeah, 2006. 2004? I think it's 2004. All right, let's go with 2004. These memories, they're all over the place, you know what I mean? Admittedly, I smoke a lot of weed, but please understand, the experience is very real. You know, I have to change the names, places to protect the innocent, blase, blase. But, hey, man, it's been quite the fun podcast. If you haven't listened to it yet, go check out Apple or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts and go tune into the Art of Bounce, man. You won't be sorry. Now, back to 2004. And in Westchester County. Hold up. 1 second. I'll look something up. One second. Y'all know where Hastings is upstate? It's gotta be a little past Westchester, ain't it? Westchester County, got it. In north, yeah, I'm gonna put northern in. Let's listen. Okay, cool. I think I wrote. I wrote the thing. Okay, all right. All right, all right. We're about to have some fun, but before I begin, let me take a pause for the cause, y'all. right, I'm back. Let's do the okay. All right, let's do this. Let's record. Yeah, okay. Let's open it up again. Turn this off. Off the top of the head now. And mind you, I only wrote the intro, and then I'm just gonna spit. All right, let's go. Let's do this. Hey, what do you say? Are you having a great day? Let's hope so. We're about to tune in to the Art of Bounce in conjunction with Force Fed Digital and the United Ronin Networks, presenting the Art of Bounce. The Art of Bounce is a show that is all about the trials and tribulations of the bouncer, and also including guards of all kinds: fire guards, lifeguards, correctional guards, security guards. This is a platform just for you, where we can discuss our ideas, our traumas, our fears, whatever it is we hold dear, other experiences. All right, wait, let me say that part again. This is a platform just for you, where we can discuss our ideas, traumas, and other experiences. Now, let us traverse back to 2004 and take you up to my old dojo on the Hudson in northern Westchester, upstate New York. Let's listen in. All right. Let's go. Reminiscing at the one day, the thoughts will start coming out. Reminiscing about the one time I was doing the damn thing in the dojo, you know? And this was way back in 2004. All right? And this was a funny situation, man. This particular day started in New Jersey. All right? My brother Vlad, he well-known barber, you know, he gets asked to go all kinds of parts of town for him to lend his superior master craft. And this was no different. This was in New Brighton I know it was somewhere in New Jersey, either New Brighton or Jersey City, one of those. Now, as we were leaving, yeah, his day was up, you know, I usually go over there every month, go see my bro and get the fresh cut. You know, he always blesses me whenever it's his time to go and he's about to leave and he got a little time. He'll put me on his chair and give me the fresh cut. Now, he tells me that his best friend, Richie's coming to pick him up. I'm like, word? Cool, fucking Rich. Way, you know what I mean? Ways, you know, we have our ways. Anyways, so my boy Way, he's on his way to New Jersey. Mind you, I love my dude, Way, you know what I'm saying? But he's a speed demon. And I'm going to explain this much further down the line. You trust me. But this guy, I just don't know. He's wild. He's a wild boy. But he's my brother's best friend, and there's got to be a reason for that. And then, no sooner did I had those few thoughts about him, who comes screeching onto the block where my brother's barber shop at? I'm like, man, you can smell the rubber he just burnt, right? Cool. Gives me a pound and a hug. Gives my brother a pound and a hug. There we were, having a couple of beers together and all that. And good for Rich. He only had one beer for him, while me and my brother, you know, sip a couple of Coronas. You know what I'm saying? Getting our day right. You know, it's the end of his day, the start of my day. I was going to take these guys to the dojo. I wanted them to check it out with me. So here we are, packed up in Richie's Civic. You know, I had to climb in that goddamn thing. You know how little that damn car is? My big 6'5" ass, and yes, I was weightier back then. You know, I was about a good 300, whatever. Okay, so there he is, Richie, on the driver's seat, and my brother Vlad in the back seat. I laugh because my brother is just so cool and calm back there. Now, again, this Dynamo Richie, he has to be extreme with everything. You understand me? The music. I mean, the man got a whole back. I mean, my brother is is literally sitting on speakers back there in the back seat. As he's throwing on the music, the shit is not even on 5. The shit is going boo, boo, boo. Damn, dude. How much bass do you need in your car? Damn. So, no. He spared me, you know what I mean? He kept it low, kind of. It was still damn loud, you know what I mean? But mind you, and I want y'all to keep this in mind, okay? We're leaving New Brighton. I think it was New Brighton, New Jersey. Now, New Brighton, New Jersey, that ain't too close. I mean, it's close to the city, but not that close, okay? Not to get there in some damn, listen to me, y'all. Listen to me when I say this. This is no exaggeration. I know I changed the names and places of the people and the places on purpose, you know what I mean, to protect the innocent. But with that being said, y'all, I wish I wasn't so damn scared of this guy, man, and his crazy shit. He insists on putting his foot down on the damn accelerator, bro. Puts his foot down on damn. He insists on putting his foot down on the accelerator. So damn. Listen, y'all. Like, whoa, like yo, this dude went from 0 to 60 in what seemed like 5 seconds. And he's pushing. I mean, through red lights and all that, and my brother all calm in the back, and he's going crazy. And I'm like, you know, I'm on my seat like, huh? Yo, let's do this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yo, listen, man, I don't know what kind of engine he had, but the shit was noisy as fuck. Talk about some damn, the shit was humming. This man was pushing it. Yo, here we are running the streets of New Jersey to get into the damn highway, right? Boom. We get on the highway. I think it was the NJ. I forget what it is. You know what I mean? I think what was that, Route 4 we ended up on? And he's zipping. Boom! And he's going back and yo, listen, he's going, bro, he's moving. He's going left. He's going right. He's passing cars, dusting them. Other cars. Bro, some stupid motherfucker had the nerve to want to challenge Rich. You know what I'm saying? So Rich was like, all right. Bro, this nigga put on a fucking bachata song loudly. Bing, ding, 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 ding. And then he steps on the goddamn motherfucking gas. And bro, all you saw was smoke. You didn't see Duke after that. Dude that challenged Rich, you didn't see Duke. You didn't see him anymore. All you saw was white smoke. Vlad in the back, chilling out. I think he was grinning because he sees me bugging out. He sees me bugging out, and I'm like, yo, why are you going so fast, bro? Why? Why do you have to go this fast? Listen, folks, no exaggeration. We left New Brighton, right? We made it to Manhattan, Washington Heights. leaping off the George Washington Bridge in 10 minutes. This takes me back to my guy T, who used to drive us all, you know what I mean? He used to drive us all from Brooklyn, and his ass would leave Brooklyn and end up in the Bronx in 10 minutes. Now, I don't know how the fuck these guys do this, these damn speed demons, but thank y'all for sparing us our lives. Here we were, at the end of the motherfucking, here we are at the stoplight, right, on Broadway, 178. I'm catching my breath. Vlad, he's looking bored and shit, but he's smiling and shit, because, you know what I'm saying? Because he's seen me bugging out, and Richie, forget about it. He's on, his focus is retarded. And I don't mean to use that word like that, but you have to understand, bro, dude was focused. You know what I'm saying? And bro, when he put his foot down, once that light turned green, we ended up on the Cross Bronx in 2 minutes. Bro, why'd he do that? We had to go through the street. I don't know why. He could have just went directly through the way taking you directly into the Cross Bronx, but no, he didn't do that. He didn't do that. You know why he didn't do that? Because he said to me, you needed a breath of fresh air. You needed to take a breather. That's the only reason why I stopped. I'm like, God damn. I believe you. I believe you. Could you slow down a little bit? But no, he ends up on the damn Bronx Parkway. What's that? The Bronx. What's that? What parkway is that? Okay, and anyway, we're taking the highway. I know we're just going uptown. We're just rooming uptown. I think he might have hit the major D, because we had to do the damn Hudson thing. So I think he hit the major D. Bruh, why we make it all the way upstate in 20 minutes? And tell me why we had the miracle of not encountering no kind of police. Bro, okay, and what's funny about that is, you know, my guys today, this particular day, we came like 5 cars deep. Me and Rich and Vlad in one car, a couple of my partners in their cars. We were all on the way to this dojo on the Hudson. And no, I'm not going to say the name of it, so you can forget about it. Yeah, so there we were. Whole bunch of us. It was about 10 of us. I was the smallest one. I got the nerve to be, no, I wasn't the smallest one. The one guy that was the smallest one, he was actually in the best shape out of all of us, to be honest, because he was like, okay, he was 6'1", weighed about 195 pounds, which is the weight you're supposed to have. And that's it. He was like the only one that weighed less than 200 pounds, let alone 300 pounds. Rest of it, and then Richie, he was pushing a good 220, 230 at the time. And Vlad, he was like 240, 250 or whatever. And they two were there. Let me see. My guy, let me see. My guy Rhino. His big old 6'10" ass, 485 pound. But that's my guy, man. We be you know, we train together. We spar and shit. You know, we wrestle, we bump, we do all kind of shit together. You know, couple of other guys that were there, and then the sensei, who is a master of Krav Maga, or whatever that shit is. Let me hold on. Let me look up the word. 1 second. did say it right. Yeah, so he was, the sensei there. And this pudgy little white guy, like, he wasn't even that tall. Like, he was not even, 5'6", 5'7" at the most. Bushy white hair, bushy white beard, looked like Santa Claus straight up. But this guy was a master at the Krav Maga, right? Krav Maga, if you know, you know. So there he was, teaching us all simple things. Me being 6'5" at maybe 300, maybe a little more. I was still the littlest one, man, because my guy Rhino, and then he brought his men's with him, and he's another 7-footer. You know what I'm saying? 500 pounds. Like, why you? What's up, my guy? Like, I got the nerve to be tall, and these motherfuckers is roaching me. So there he was. How many times am I gonna say that? We're in a circle, right? About a good 10 of us. And, of course, Sensei gotta be calling me. Why? He loves me. He loves bumping me. And, he knows I'm real good with pain like that. And I'm a dynamo with him. And I'll be teaching him a thing or two about things, too, as well. I'll be surprising him. I'm so damn quick with it, I'm Sutton. He calls me, he's the one that started to call me Sutton. So we're doing moves, and my God, here I am. Okay, put your hands up. Okay, don't hit back. Don't hit back. Okay, what are you trying to show me? And he's showing me a technique where he's throwing a punch, and he's showing me how to, like, get out of the way of it. So we're doing this together for a little while. And then he's calling one of the big guys to come do it. So there we were. He's swinging, and I'm moving, trying not to get hit by this fucking mastodon. He's swinging with, boom, you hear that shit. And I'm running away. And then I got caught sleeping, I got hit in my back, boom, fell to the floor. Like, oh, damn. And of course, he picks me up. You all right? I'm good. Dust myself off, keep it moving. So Richie and Vlad, they watching this together with me, and they like, God damn, bro. To be honest, we never seen you buck like that. Now, my brother, he knows a thing or two. You see, he and I and my other brother Oscar, I'm not even going to tell you the many, 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 many times we played lucha libre. And this was before we knew it was wrestling, And I ain't even going to mention how many backyard fights I had. Whew! Too many to name. But anyways, I was good. I mean, I wasn't exactly super fit, but I'm made of steel when it comes to pain. I got a nice threshold for it, a nice wherewithal, if you will. But here comes this 7-foot motherfucker. Like, why I gotta fight these dudes? Why don't you, hey, Delancey, why don't you take your skinny ass and fight these dudes? So he's like, yeah, sure, why not? He's in there, skinny self, versus this big mastodon. Hate to say it, though. Little man ran circles around the big guy. I mean, come on. This man is in super shape. The man looks like fucking he looks like Montel Williams on steroids, if you could imagine what that looks like. You know what I mean? But he's slender and skinny and shit. Like he's just built right. And he had all the speed. It was amazing. So the sensei put me and him together to do it. And it was fun because here he was, the smallest, and I am like number 2 smallest. And these 2 little guys among these big people just dancing around this circle inside this dojo. And I'm pretty sure I impressed my bro, you know what I'm saying? And Richie, forget about it. He was just laughing the entire time. Oh man, so many memories about this day. You know, um, yeah, man. Yeah. So after all that was said and done, after everybody got their workout on, I mean, everybody was pushing their weights, everybody was sparring, using the ring, bouncing up and down the ring, because a lot of us love wrestling. We did that too, taking bumps, doing moves on each other, clotheslines, headlocks, ankle locks, stretching each other out. Not hurting each other though. We doing this because we got to do this because we was working at places like the Fever, and we was working at places like on Tremont and in the Bronx. Forget about it. Anywhere you work in the Bronx is a potential for some hazards. You know what I'm saying? So that's all we were doing. We was just getting ready. We was just getting prepared for whatever might come. And then the sensei was so nice, you know, making us jog. He made us jog. He be making us jog so we could build up our footwork. You know what I'm saying? And it makes sense, bro. Like the more and more we did it, you could feel that we could just leap and move. That's the idea. And I know I impressed many a person just being Sutton and ending up right next to somebody in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye. You know what I mean? And yeah, I had a lot of fun in that dojo. Too bad that a major storm came and brought that whole house down, bro. Like it you know, one of those powerful ass storms where a damn tree fell on top of the motherfucking house, and that was it for that little place on the Hudson. And as I reminisce about it, man, I do feel a tear coming down. I do, cause it was a couple of times we went up there and cars deep, man. It felt so good, being amongst brotherhood and camaraderie, you know. And each and every time we left, like, I took my brothers, my brother and his friend there that one time, but, there was like a couple other times I went dolo or with other friends of mine in their cars, going all the way upstate and shit, doing what we do. And reminiscing about it, you know what I mean? How can you not have a tinge of melancholy? Just a tinge of melancholy. Why? Why wouldn't you have at least a tinge of it? You know what I'm saying? Just like with other memories that come and go, it's just, I guess it's the nature of the business, as I like to say. So, with that tale being told, I'd like to thank y'all for sharing yet another adventure with me. And I featured my brother Vlad, who I hope will record with me very soon. And big shout to my boy Way Way, Big Rich, friend of the family, who is family. And thank you, brother. You always show me a great time, man. You my brother too. Fuck the bullshit. We family, and I love you. I love you all like cooked food. Facts. And now, let me share with y'all where you can find me at over at Instagram or X. You can even go to Threads. Does people still call it Twitter? Yeah, X. Find me at RGMC 2407. I got a YouTube channel, I got a Facebook group, all of it under the same handle at RGMC 2407. Check out my reading channel, the United Ronin Networks, and let me read you a book today. You can also get with me if you want to leave it, and if you want, you can also get with me. You can also tune in to the Art of Bounce on its own YouTube channel, as well as through Force Fed Digital, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as Amazon Music. We ain't hard to find. Hey, find us any day. We always got something to say. Folks, if you see a bouncer, tell him thanks. Show him a little bit of love because he's doing his damnedest with the little bit of money he's being paid to make sure you guys have a great time. Be safe. Hi, folks. That was fun. That was fun, some freestyle shit. Oh man, it's on the Art of Bounce. What you just heard is going to be on the Art of Bounce. So go to where you listen to your favorite podcasts, whether it's Apple Music, Amazon Music, why they call it music. Anyway, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, you can find it there. You can find it on YouTube. It's its own channel over there. Like, share, subscribe. And again, folks, you know how I love being with y'all, right? It's therapeutic when I fuck with y'all. You know what I mean? It's that serious. When I sit here and I vibe with y'all, it's always a beautiful thing. And I'm so appreciative of you folks taking your time, your valuable time, to tune in. Could have been doing anything else, and here you are, chilling with R4. Now then, folks, I would like for you to remind you to pick up on my man Jaja's book, right? Afrofuturism. It's called Rising Depth. That's going to be the next book I read on the United Ronin Networks on Ralph Reads. And of course, tune into Ralph Reads Raw. And again, I can't do this without y'all, okay? Because of y'all, I do this. Now, I'm a bit tired, so I'm going to stop doing this just for the day. And we'll be at it. You'll see me somewhere, trust me, okay? Y'all be good. And remember, stay sexy. It becomes you.